We're taking back the block, at least for these few minutes. The corporation Sutter Health, CPMC, has perpetrated an act of corporate genocide on 4 residents, immigrant residents who live in the SROs on this block. Small family-owned, not corporate-owned businesses, and workers, immigrant workers, who now have no jobs to go to.
Este es el único lugar que está abierto temprano y hasta muy noche.
This is the only coffee shop that is open really early and really late at night.
This is a standard scenario. This is gentrification 101. And any of us who have been fighting and resisting capitalist gentrification efforts for years should know that this is standard operating procedure.
Something that the hospital doesn't tell you is that when this hospital takes over, instead of, and you guys just saw this guy who just came and felt like knocking me over for expressing how I feel, we can sense evil is coming, and evil is what's trying to stay here and claim San Francisco as its own.
But as revolutionary media organizers and poor people constantly displaced, dispossessed, and taken down, we are marking this moment of injustice to poor peoples and peoples of color. We are marking this act of corporate genocide, and for these few minutes, we are taking back this block.
We used to be here. We used to be here.
This is Mom and Dee's coffee shop for years. They provide non-corporate coffee, and it's a family of workers, business owners.
I walk the streets.
Now we're being taken down.
I see my kids grow in this coffee shop, in these blocks, who are being taken by Sutter Health, aka corporations. We used to be here. We used to be here.
This is Mom and Dee's coffee shop for years. They provide non-corporate coffee, and it's a family of workers and business owners. Now we're being taken down.
Small and small businesses. From the restaurant at the corner, the mattress store, all the way up. And 40 residents will be kicked out of their rooms.
I muteado silencio and giving the thanks for the people who came out. And some people might ask, well, it's a hospital they're going to build. Well, you guys are demonstrating against a hospital. But we understand this hospital, this corporate hospital, is not for the elderly, it's not for the homeless, it's not for the art folks. It's going to be for rich, wealthy people who have the means, who have the insurance. And we have seen here in California, especially in Los Angeles, how some folks end up going to the hospital, and just because they didn't have health insurance, they were thrown in the streets. They got footage about our elderly folks, our homeless folks, just because we don't have the proper health care, are being put in the streets, thrown by the fucking ambulances. I've seen this, I know many of you guys seen this, I think it's an injustice.
Y si lo van a cerrar, pues vamos a morir de hambre.
And if they will close the coffee shop, where are we going to get our coffee?
No quiero que lo hagan, espero que no lo hagan.
And I hope it's not done. I hope they don't do it.
The landless who used to live here, who used to go to this office business, who used to actually drink coffee in this space, demand to take our block back. We will not be killed by corporate genocide, by gentricide. Marlon Crump, poverty scholar, revolutionary legal advocate. Ow!
Thank you everybody for coming. Contrary to my character that you just saw in the Muck Theater, I am totally against this. And last year when we went to the planning commission, I said a few words. I said, how can y'all build hospitals over homes? Hospitals are supposed to help people, not displace people and destroy people. Am I right? I mean, I thought hospitals are supposed to heal and help people, not being placed over people's homes, especially those who are considered the elderly, the most vulnerable. So yeah, so these corporate death entities need to stop immediately. Otherwise, this entire city will be corporate, as well as it become a trend for other countries and other cities. Thank you.
Fucking ambulances. I seen this. I know many of you guys seen this. I think it's an injustice. Yo más estoy aquí apoyando esta demostración, porque creemos que este hospital no es para nuestra gente, para la gente inmigrante, para la gente pobre. Hemos mirado como hospitales en Los Ángeles, California, después de cuando va la gente anciana y si no tienes cuidado, si no tienes medical, han empujado a nuestra gente a la calle, los han tirado y han sido grabados. Y simplemente yo estoy aquí en contra de este hospital de Southern Health, que en vez de ayudar va a matar a nuestra comunidad. Gracias.
Like my brother Pudiano said, one of the things that people say is this is going to be a hospital. Why are you protesting? We need more hospitals. The reality is St. Luke's was a beautiful hospital and remains a beautiful hospital that actually serves a lot of poor folks and communities of color that many of us native San Franciscans have been born in. This corporation is trying to kill St. Luke's and has tried to prove that they should build this corporate rich people's hospital. It's an ongoing fight and will continue.
Hello, I'm Bruce Allison of the Core News Network. All these businesses you see here are not formula businesses. These are mom and pop businesses. From the restaurant at the corner, the mattress store, all the way up, and 40 residents will be kicked out of their room, given a minimum stipend that can only pay 1 month's rent in an average apartment in San Francisco. These people will be moved and evicted. They already have mapped this area as a hospital without a permit. How can you map something that technically don't exist? Thank you very much.
Bruce Allison, Elder Poverty Scholar. Next up, Pudiano Silencio, migrante scholar and member of the Theater of the Poor, Poetas Pobres.
Well, I'm going to start Pudiano Silencio and giving the thanks for the people who came out. And some people might ask, well, it's a hospital they're going to build. Well, you guys are demonstrating against a hospital. But we understand this hospital, this corporate hospital, is not for the elderly, it's not for the homeless, it's not for the our folks. It's going to be for rich, wealthy people who have the means, who have the insurance.
Mr. De Leon is an act of revolutionary media resistance, as all of us at Poor Magazine are, as poor people making media in resistance to these kinds of corporate genocide. Again, I want to be very clear. This business is a small family-owned business from a family from Thailand. They paid their workers a living wage. They have no other place to relocate. They don't have the money to stay in this corridor because all the rents have risen, so that small businesses can't be here. But yes, in fact, if you need your coffee, go to the nearest Starbucks or Pete's. They can afford this ground rent. The question is, how does rent get raised? This is the act, this is the moment, folks, when all of the changes of gentrification actually happen. This will be blighted. This neighborhood will be criminalized. Poor people will still come back here, but this time they might sit outside. And when they do, they will be arrested for the act of sitting and lying while poor in San Francisco. This movement is a tide that continues, an entire movement of rich people living in this city, and poor people and poor businesses and poor people of color being kicked out. So I just want to be very clear for folks listening, be aware of the way that we are displaced, because it's as important as what happens after we are displaced. And one of our points at Poor Magazine is to make sure our voices are heard in resistance all the way through, in an attempt to hold on to one shred of humanity in this increasingly rich white city.